Hi, and welcome to Bible Bites. My name is Megan. Have you ever tried to do the right thing and it just didn't seem like it was the right move, or maybe there was more than one option and it was just confusing? Well, today we're going to finish up Ruth's story, so stay tuned. Thanks for joining me. If you want to turn in your Bibles to Ruth chapter 3, we're going to read a couple different verses from chapter 3 and then a verse from chapter 4 to conclude Ruth's story. In chapter 3, starting in verse 10, it said, "And he said, 'May you be blessed by the Lord, my daughter. You have made this last kindness greater than the first, and that you have not gone after younger men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you all that you ask, for my fellow townsmen know that you are a worthy woman.'" So this highlights a lot of the conclusion of Ruth's story. She has been doing a lot of the right things to get to this point. She had basically gone to Boaz and asked him to redeem her and Naomi because he was part of their lineage, and in the culture of the day that was the respectful and right thing to do. So she went to Boaz and said, "I need you to redeem me. I don't have a way to carry on this family name because my husband passed away." So he praises her, one, for not going after younger guys. I'm sure there was a few different options among the workers, or maybe different fieldsmen or different employees that Boaz had, but she chose him, her family lineage, to keep that culture alive, to try and carry on her family's name. And what's really cool is he calls her, some translations say a worthy woman or a virtuous woman, and that's really tying back to the Proverbs 31 woman when it's talking about an excellent wife who can find. He is praising her like that wife. He's referring to that and being like, "This is an excellent wife. I want to marry you." That's really kind of sweet when you think about it. She's commended and honored by Boaz for that decision. They even go one step further because Boaz is like, "Wait, I think there's someone in front of me that could potentially marry you before me." And they go and they make a deal and they shake some sandals, and he's like, "No, you can marry Ruth and take that land, and I will forego this deal and you can have her." Go read about it. It's really cool, and to learn about the cultural context of the day. So if we skip ahead to chapter 4, in verse 17, Boaz and Ruth get married. They have a baby. Aww. In verse 17, it says, "And the women of the neighborhood gave him a name, saying, 'A son has been born to Naomi.' They named him Obed. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David." So you never know through doing the right thing what God's going to use you for. It's kind of the theme of today's closing of this story. Ruth didn't know how God was going to use her, because it's really neat, because she carries on her lineage, which goes all the way to David. And then who comes from David? Jesus. It's like, whoa, that's so cool that you can look back and see that through Ruth's faithfulness and her choosing to do the right thing, that God used her in really big ways. That's really neat. So how can we apply this? I think there's a verse that's often maybe overused or misused. It's in the Psalms that really relates to this. Through Ruth's story, we see that through her grim beginning all the way to the end, she was very faithful, and she sought to align herself with God's will, or doing the right thing, doing what is right in the eyes of the Lord, even though she left all of her pagan gods and chose to follow the God of Israel. In Psalm 37:4, we see it says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." What this verse doesn't mean is God's going to give you like whatever you want. Like I've heard that a lot, that I'm just going to, follow God and he'll bless me. No, maybe like you'll find blessings through following God. But if we align our hearts with what God's heart is, which is for the world and for people, our desire is going to be for the world and to see the world reached and people won for Christ. That's what that verse is talking about. So let's make a challenge this week to delight ourselves in God and pray that he would give us his desires and that his desires would become ours in our hearts. I hope you really enjoyed studying through Ruth with me. This was really fun. Stay tuned next week for another great Bible Byte. I'll see you. Bye.